Welcome back to Valley View Flower Farm, everyone. Ready for a tour of the garden in the Christmas New Year holiday break. So over the break for Christmas, it's now the 29th of December. I've taken the opportunity, whilst I've had a bit of time off work, to pull out some of the spring flowering annuals that have finished and replace them with some summer flowering annuals, such as some amaranth and celosia, some salvias, and those sorts of bits and pieces. The perennials are staying in, such as the status. I've also had an opportunity to spread a bit more chip in the pathways. Still need a fair bit more to finish everything off. And I'm also removing some perennials. I'm going to dig them out and put them in my garden. These ones here that I didn't find performed well as a cut flower. I've had an opportunity to cut things back, such as the feverfew. So this is finished. This is the yellow, the golden ball feverfew. So I've cut that right back to the ground, given it a good fertilizer. I've used some blood and bone, which is just more a soil improver, and some siamungus, and ready for it to start reshooting. The monarda is now just coming into flower, which has been really nice. I have enjoyed the variation of colours on the plant and its bloom, especially this more purple coloured, the deeper purple coloured one. It's quite nice, so quite enjoying that. The snapdragons, this is the cherry pink. This is a Potomac variety that I'll cut for a florist. And my zinnias are just now starting to flower. I've got a caterpillar. The phlox has just started to flower, which is nice. So this is the perennial phlox, and I've got two either side, which will come into flower soon, and this delphinium, which is absolutely beautiful. I planted so many delphiniums, I can't remember what they are, but this is a lot taller than the other ones I have growing, so I'll collect some seed off that and try that again for next year. My sunflowers are just starting now. I would have had a lot more sunflowers earlier in the season, but unfortunately I've had mites on my sunflowers and on my dahlias. I'll show you the damage on those. This is a branching sunflower that I was given free seed for, so I've just left that in the garden to see how that performs. It hasn't been damaged by mites and it looks quite good. And then across the next bed we have the sunflowers that have had the mite damage, and you can see it on the deformed leaves. These have all been sprayed with a miticide and with eco oil. And I'll show you another patch which looks slightly better. And I have pulled a lot of sunflowers out that were heavily deformed. And I suppose for me now it's just to see what they look like as they flower. Some aren't flowering properly. I'll show you this one here. It doesn't have proper leaves, and if I leave it, it'll just stay like this. It won't open up much further than that. I'll show you another one around the other side. My Lysianthus seems to be going all right. I have had some wilt because we've had excessive amount of rain. My remedy for that is I do apply Populate. It's a neutral product, and I find it does help with wilt. So I'll add that to my watering can later and apply that. So I've been generally putting in anywhere between 50 and 150 sunflower seeds a week and propagating them in cell trays and planting them out. These here have also been hit by mites. This flower here is perfectly okay, and then the one next to it, not so much. The height on the sunflowers hasn't been great either, but we haven't had a lot of hot weather. We're quite mild where we are. So these sunflowers here, they look fine. So fingers crossed, I might have solved most of my mite problems. I will keep spraying just in case, because I've heard that the mites become resistant if you keep spraying with the same product. So I've just been mixing things up. The cotton is still going well. I've got some more zinnias and some amaranth and celosia. So my dahlias have also been subject to a mite attack. These ones have been repeatedly sprayed and they seem to be coming back fairly well. These aren't burnt, it's actually a bit of fertilizer on the plant, and the new growth seems to be okay, although the dahlia itself is fairly stunted. So it's just a case of fingers crossed. That one doesn't look great. I don't care if I don't get flowers this year. I just like to increase my tuber stock, so just continuously, this one's terrible, just continually trying to treat them to overcome the mite situation. Apparently mites have been really bad this year. The potatoes are also susceptible to mite attack, but they seem fine. And that section across there where the hay is, I've just planted a long row of ornamental gourds for later on in the season. The Potomac orange snapdragons are flowering, so I'll pick a lot of those. The stems are okay, they're a bit thin, but that's fairly normal for summer flowering snapdragons. I've cut a lot of things back and given them a general fertilise, and I have pulled a few things out that weren't performing. So my mullein, I pulled all that out. And this thing, I can't remember what it's called. I'll put the name on the screen because it'll come to me later. I'm still waiting for it to flower. I'm not sure what it's doing. It's getting very tall though. So this is my feverfew. It's going really well. I have some golden ball there. I don't know that I'll grow that one again. It's quite short and it looks okay in a bouquet, but I do prefer this one. Another patch of zinnias. I think my biggest disappointment so far with the growing the flowers by seed is the fact that the flowers, you think you're planting them when the colour is not true to form. So I'm not a fan of red. I didn't plant this colour. It was supposed to be more Beneri's giant purple, but I've ended up with a red. It's still okay, but I'm finding that a lot with growing by seed. My expectations aren't always being met. I think the biggest one this season so far has been the scabiosa. I planted nothing but perennial scabiosa, and I don't think I had any perennial scabiosa come up. They've all been annual scabiosa, so that's been slightly disappointing. But I'll try again next year and see how I go. I suppose if I want true to form, I need to order plugs. So growing here is the Liatris, or gay feather I think they call it. That's the purple one. I've grown this from seed. I grew this from seed in autumn. Not much. There's only a little tiny patch here, and it's just about to, some of it's about to come into flower. So I've found it almost impossible to get the corms or the bulbs for this plant, so that's why I had to resort to growing it from seed. So hopefully, given care, I should be able to look after this patch and just increase its numbers slowly over time. It's a little frustrating sometimes. You can buy perennials, you know, 1 or 2 plants, but you can't ever at a reasonable cost buy, you know, plugs. We don't have the availability to buy, you know, 50 plugs of a certain perennial or bulb like this. You can always get the common things, but nothing, none of the rare ones. So, and I don't even think this is a rare plant. I don't know, maybe people don't grow it. So we'll just see how this goes. I'm interested to see it flower. There are other varieties I could get by seed, but this is just the normal one. But I found that they didn't come up as well, so I persevered with this one. This is the preferred stage for me to cut them in. One flower open. So feverfew is great value because you get a lot of smaller branches, larger sections, so you can really break each section up. So I sell him bunches of 5. It's a pretty big bunch. So the florist didn't order any Rebecca. I had it on my availability list, but what I might do is throw some in anyway, just for free, just to show her what it's like, and then she can choose to use it or not. That's up to her. So this is what I ended up picking. This bunch of status is a bit shorter, so I just added in some extra status. So 4 bunches of status, 2 big bunches of feverfew. They're just laying over like that because they're on long stalks. I wrapped my snaps to keep protected, and some feverfew. And just when I thought I'd finished, because it's now 1:30, I was having some lunch, and another order for flowers. Florist in town has a 21st bouquet to put together and has no flowers because the wholesalers aren't open. So I will race around and try and provide her with a bucket of bits and pieces for her to make a 21st bouquet. So this is what I ended up with, the spur of the moment florist order. Now I've got to race it into town. So I'm back from dropping the flowers at the florist, and the wind has picked up. It's looking rather nasty out there now. This is my big load of loosened mulch hay to spread on the perennial garden, which is coming along quite nicely. And I just wanted to show you, these are my pots. We finally filled them with dirt and put pavers down for those, the old copper wash tubs. And I had the kangaroo paws, which I did show everyone in the previous video, and they look like they died because it was quite hot for a while there, but they're coming back. So I'm putting them in today, and I'll give them a nice native fertilizer, and hopefully they'll take off from there. These were the purpley blue kangaroo paws. So thanks for tuning in. I've got another video coming up where I do some propagating of perennial cut flowers, so stay tuned for that one. Thanks everyone. Bye.